That funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live 5 in the Evil Bean Network, Rumble X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in IE Newswire on all those. Roy Blecker, you'll get my nice smiling shining face on this Faster Than You Friday of that. Speaking of that, Freedom 250, the IndyCar race on the 250th birthday, is going to be run in Washington, D.C. And if I heard that right, there's going to be no admission. So our birthday president from IndyCar, Donald J. Trump, to the American citizens of that will be absolutely awesome on that. So the lead-in story, ghost students stealing millions in California. What else is new? Man, oh man, we got Newsom. More coming out. Newsom's admitting he knew of the fraud that was going on with the Russian, Armenian, and hospice, and probably everyone else going on. See how the supposed agitator ICE protests were going to pull off on that. Haven't heard much of that. Epstein files, big dump. What, 3 million documents, 2,000 videos, 180,000 photos. I didn't hear much about it, so I mean, maybe it was a big yawn. I don't know. Last week, to get Prop 13 and voter ID, the petitions, to get it on the ballot in November. Get out there. If you haven't signed it, get them on. Pretty confident the voter ID is going to pass it. Hopefully, Prop 13, it's a little behind, so make sure you sign the Prop 13. Say Prop 13 petition on the line. And voter ID looks like Thune and company are cranking her up in the Senate. Chuck Grassley got some more, or was another senator, the old fossil, I think he's 90 years old, signed on as a co-sponsor. About the lead story of the day. Ghosts, students stealing millions from financial aid from community colleges. Say it ain't so, Joe. Well, maybe not Joe, but Dan Noyes, the great investigative reporter from up in San Fran. He actually was dumping on Gavin Newsom when he was drunker than a skunk up there when he first got to be mayor. But let's see what Dan has to say on how we're getting fleeced, the community colleges, by ghost students.
Millions of tax dollars right now to what are known as ghost students, online scammers who enroll in community colleges and get away with financial aid meant for actual students from the Bay Area.
I-Team reporter Dan Noyes is here with the results of a joint investigation with ABC News. Dan?
Larry and Kristen, these ghost student scammers mainly come from overseas, and they are a problem throughout California and across the country. They often use artificial intelligence to expand their reach and evade fraud detection controls. Admission staff for San Jose's community colleges are stretched thin, trying to catch ghost students who use stolen or fake identities to enroll in classes and obtain financial aid. The online scammers have had a real impact.
So we would have courses where we'd have 50 seats and another 100 plus on a waiting list. And we would find that maybe 6 of those actual enrollees were students.
Only 6. Supposed to be 50 in the class, 100 on the waiting list. You'd think this class was a demand. And everybody wants in there. There's 6 students in there. It's like you go, oh, we got 150 kids in this daycare center, and you go up and it's the 2 kids, the kids that have supposedly the ones running the daycare center. On top of that, oh, we'll have that up. Nick Shirley is in California with Amy Reichert. We'll have that here in a second, too. Here's more from the Dan Noyes Report.
And the rest were fraudulent accounts, ghost students.
Dr. Chaidez explained she sees the most fraud in asynchronous courses in which students can work online at their own speed, but also with in-person classes. 58-year-old Murat Mayer is a business analyst with a PhD. He has no interest in attending community college. But as he started applying for financial aid for his teenage son, he discovered that scammers had stolen both of their identities, signing the father and son up for community college classes across the country.
Yeah, 58 years old, PhD. He needs to go to community college. He's on the list. He's on the big list. Yeah, PhD guy, then finds out him and his kid have been getting, or the people have been using his name and Social Security to fleece the stupid Californians who elect jackasses like Corey Jackson, Gavin Newsom, baby Jesus, Ulysses Cabrera, and on that let you fleece the dollars out of our pocket. It's absolutely insane.
You notice that there were a lot of activity. There are a lot of applications, loan applications, grant applications. Then we panicked.
California Community Colleges confirms that in 2024, the most recent data available, 31.4% of all applications to the state's 116 community colleges were fraudulent.
Almost 32%, 31%, 3 in 10 plus. Of all applications to community colleges are fraudulent. No wonder the expenses of these things. The next time they want a bond or a tax increase or something, tell them to stick it up their ass. How much of this crap is going on?
The scammers are sometimes able to navigate the system of enrolling, getting accepted, and applying for financial aid to get away with millions of your tax dollars.
Can you give me an idea of the amount of money that was actually sent to the bad guys over the past, say, 3, 4, 5 years?
Right. Without providing you an actual amount, I can tell you that it is in the millions. So they were able to fraud the system of millions of dollars. And those millions of dollars would have gone directly to our students in financial aid resources.
The total.
So this is why they have to up the tuition or this or up your taxes to pay for the community colleges or whatever. Millions? Well, yeah, we can't say. We have no idea. Well, they probably do have an idea. They probably even know the exact number. They don't want to tell you because it's so astronomical. You would go through your roof faster than an Elon Musk X rocket.
Lost to financial aid fraud in 2024, according to California Community Colleges, about $3 million in state funding and $10 million in federal funding. The Department of Education.
So all you in the other 49 states kicked in $10 million on this too, to have it stolen by a bunch of bots who say they're sitting on a computer, probably out there doing fentanyl, doing weed, screwing hookers, who knows?
Reports the federal government has lost more than $350 million to ghost student scams over the past 5 years.
You can bet. You can bet. Since we're 12.5% of the population, you can bet at least 25 to 50% of that fraud is coming out of California. Now, I'd say it's going to be closer to 50%. I would say 150, 175 million. It's the federal government. That's not counting the California money. That's not counting your California taxes or DMV fees or whatever they put in a big pile, and then they give it to these ghost students.
Now the DOE's Inspector General has launched some 200 investigations coast to coast.
As you're stealing identities, these loans are not being repaid. They're being assigned to people. They don't even know they have a debt with the U.S. Department of Education. Or you get some letter from the department or the servicer or the Internal Revenue Service that says you owe the Department of Education money for something you don't even know about.
Community colleges are fighting back, hiring consultants such as Maurice Simpkins. The former NFL linebacker and his wife run a software security firm that's now screening students as they apply to more than 150 schools nationwide.
That's essentially the way I like to look at it.
They weren't doing this before. How do you get 50 students in there, 100 on the waiting list and only 6, and nobody was checking any of this stuff out?
From a football term, it's an offensive line.
Simpkins says they found digital footprints from criminal rings around the world.
Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nigeria. Most recently, we've been seeing some Russian data where it's actually coming in Russian characters in some instances.
California community colleges are deploying machine learning that recognizes false applications, multi-factor authentication.
I wonder how much people in Bangladesh are probably not even here. And we're just, pay them. Here you go. Or, we give them money, or they get student loans and come to these classes that they don't come to these classes. They're supposed to be online. They're living in Ethiopia or some damn place.
include selfies or live video, resistance to bots and automated script attacks. They are also counting on professors to catch a name on their roster who never appears in class.
There were supposed to be 50 in class, and only 6 were there. And the professor didn't think there was nothing odd, or didn't say hey, or somebody.
Chancellor Chides tells me these efforts have vastly reduced the number of ghost students who get through.
It's still happening, so we still remain diligent. You know, we want to make sure that we're serving actual students. We're providing financial resources to actual students.
We're just trying to figure out how to serve actual students at a community college. That's supposed to be your main deal.
The criminal activity, it still happens, and that's why we remain diligent.
I spoke with one professor who now even complete a classroom assignment just to keep the financial once they get that money disappear.
Well, there's your big teachers. Oh yeah, they just going along with it because they're getting paid. That's from Dan Noyes, San Francisco, ABC 7. Not Hillbilly Roy. Yeah, the professors are just writing, the teachers are just writing this off because they're getting grandiose salaries on top of platinum benefits and retiring on the Caribbean. And they're ripping your ass every day. It's not for the kids, it's going in their pockets. And it's going to stop one way or the other. We'll get on with the rest of the show, man. What a jam-packed on this Faster Than You Friday. We're going to monitor, maybe the rioters are turning a little testy with the feds down there in L.A. We'll see if that develops in the rest of this hour that we're on as we roll into the weekend. Man, we got a lot like that. Professors, nobody figured out there's supposed to be 50 in the class and there's only 6 showing up and you don't say anything. Don't tell me they're not in on the deal. Man, we got tons of trouble, as they say in River City. Everybody asked, which he was. Nick Shirley was actually out here for the big Minnesota thing. He was actually out here in California about a year ago. Good news is he's back with Amy Reichert down in San Diego. She's been, since the Nick Shirley thing came out, she's been doing a lot of investigation on child care facilities in and around San Diego where she's from. Well, she just posted, see this picture of her and Nick Shirley checking out some of the stuff in San Diego where Amy Reichert has found, hey, nobody's showing up. No kids in these daycare centers. There's Nick, and there's a big blow up of that with Nick Shirley and Amy Reichert checking out one of the hot spots over there. The stuff is absolutely incredible. I didn't hear nothing about the big dump of the Epstein files, 3,000 documents, 180,000 images, 2,000 videos. And I haven't heard nothing about it all day. All this, we want the Epstein files. And man, if there's pedos out there, then, and of course, prosecute them. They should be in jail for the rest of their lives and not the death penalty if it was in my world. We put out the story because we heard it was coming. You know, it was a big document release. And all of a sudden, crickets. Who knows? We've heard some of the ICE agitators have been out there screwing around in SoCal, confronting some of the massive indoctrinations going on out there. I don't know. Sometimes we get way too far out of control on these things. Just touching my thing. I don't know why I'm getting the flicker across that, but it's beginning to be at a pace that is almost unsustainable. But we shall see why incarnations were not. Trying to unplug and plug things in here so maybe things will not. Ooh, that was me. See if I come back. There we go. It's by and large indistinguishable. We're in one of those times where you never know what powder keg is going to roll off. This one, Exotic Dancer, had beheaded her boyfriend. Here's a KTLA 5 report.
Crime, killing and decapitating her boyfriend, has been arrested. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker.
Police say the suspect fled to Mexico. That's where she was arrested and returned to the U.S.
Investigators from multiple agencies worked together to track her down, and KTLA's Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost is live in Santa Ana with the latest details.
Yeah, hello there. You know, when you hear about the type of violence used in this case, it's something you typically might associate with drug cartels, but the district attorney's office says that's not the situation here. Instead, they believe this was a case of domestic violence. According to the Orange County District Attorney's Office, 23-year-old Elisa Lira of Anaheim was working as a stripper when she started dating 55-year-old Enrique Gonzalez Carbajal. But just 2 months into that dating relationship, Anaheim police were called to an apartment on La Palma Avenue where they found a horrible crime scene.
On August 25th, 2025, the headless body of a man was discovered in an Anaheim home and sparked an intense manhunt.
The headless body belonged to Gonzalez Carbajal, and the manhunt was for his girlfriend, who investigators believed had immediately fled to Mexico. And last week, after an intense search involving multiple agencies, that's where she was located, before being handed over to Anaheim police detectives at the border a day later.
We recently were able to locate her with the assistance of the FBI, the Anaheim Police Department, the Orange County District Attorney's Office, and Mexican authorities, and return.
Isn't that a wild scene? From 25-year-old stripper, 55-year-old guy, she chops off his head. We report, you decide what was going on there. It was, who knows why these things go down, but I'll let your imagination run wild on this Faster Than You Friday. This has been a fun day with the technical stuff. Holy cow. Everything that could go wrong. I've had a pretty good run.
That's where my choice for flashlights, Maglite, comes in. Maglite is simply the best flashlight you can buy, period. It's an iconic...
Man. Hello.
All right, hey, at least your video's working today.
Yeah, everything's been going 1,000% haywire. I just heard Lou Desmond come in here. I don't know what the hell that was. So,
Oh yeah, that was still on the.
that was you. I'm thinking, where in the hell popped the top out?
Yeah.
I've been having so much technical stuff today. I figured out. I didn't know what the hell was. You
Less
were
than.
you. So it was you that was freaking me out. Oh man.
All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
You got it. Support America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30. The Evil Hippie Network, Hartman on KMET, the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire. The 4-inch a day event, type in IE Newswire, Roy Bleckert. You could see that. It's been a faster than you Friday, like I say, every possible thing that could go wrong has gone wrong on today's show. But we started off with the whole enchilada of ghost students rolling on. Let's see if we can get it there. We can get ghost students stealing millions in financial aid from community colleges. 50 people supposed to be in a class, 100 on a waiting list, and 6 are in the classroom. And the professor doesn't notice anything that's going on. We're getting ripped 1,000% all across the board. See, there's all the fun stuff. All across the board. All these fine teachers and professors are supposed to be looking out for us and doing all this work and only for the kids and yada, yada, yada. They're flat ripping you off with their golden salaries, platinum benefits, and they want more. They're circulating a petition to get Prop 55 repassed because it's sunsetting in 2030. They're already getting in there. They want more. The Epstein files, 3 million, 2 million, 3 million documents, 180,000 images, 2,000 videos, and it was a big yawn. Or at least I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, I hope this puts this whole thing to rest. If there's pedos out there, they should be prosecuting them. But the whole rest of it, I know I'm done with it. Get out there. This is the final week to sign the California voter ID law and save Prop 13. Don Lemon in handcuffs. Oh, what a sight. Pam Bondi, who I've been extremely critical of, she did bring the hammer down on this one for his alleged involvement in that Minnesota church raid, or where the agitators go in there and try to take over the church or melt it down. Buffoon Bass is all upset. She released a statement, crocodile tears, oh, they're mean to Don Lemon. Well, you know what? You're in the criminal justice system now for your conduct, Don. And oh, what a sight it is. Here's a little bit of the KTLA report. Hopefully, see what wonders this will bring.
Magistrate judge signed off on just 3 people, not including Lemon. An appeals court also refused to expand that. Now, prosecutors appear to have taken the case to a grand jury, and they've come back with charges against Don Lemon and a Minnesota-based journalist who was also there covering the protests. Want to read you this statement this morning from Don Lemon's attorneys. It reads in part, this unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court.
I hope he does. Well, yeah, we don't like his face anyway. You don't need to be giving him any more publicity than he's already got. You know what? You got a lot of latitude to being a journalist, but that doesn't allow you to do illegal activities. Doesn't allow you to participate or plan them. You can cover them, no problem. You're just out there with your film crew or giving an interview. When you're over there with them and you're buying them donuts and coffee and encouraging them and all that, then you're potentially crossing that line. Just like documents. You know, the Pentagon Papers will look at the cases, and this is my understanding. You know, if you're a journalist, newspaper, clown on the radio like me or whatever, you know, somebody, if you obtain documents, hey, as long as you didn't illegally take them or obtain them, like go in and steal them, if somebody hands you a bunch of documents or sends them to you by carrier pigeon or whatever, hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If you didn't do anything illegal, you're fine. And if Don Lemon didn't do anything illegal, but there's a lot of evidence out there that suggests that he did. Of course, that mayor of L.A., Buffoon Bass, had this to say.
This morning, we can also tell you that L.A. Mayor Karen Bass is posting about this on social media, saying this is an attack on First Amendment rights here, saying this is also an escalation on the tense situation unfolding in Minnesota. She's now says she's in correspondence with the U.S. Attorney's Office about this case. Again, we are working right now to figure out what time Don Lemon will be making that first court.
I'm sure the U.S. Department of Justice dropped everything because Mayor Buffoon Bass is having a hissy fit over Don Lemon. I'm sure that was their biggest concern. Man, oh man, we got all sorts of fun stuff rolling in. Again, this is the last week, final week. Sign the California voter ID and save Prop 13. Going HJTA, that'll get you the Prop 13 one, or Carl DeMiles, Reform California. It'll get you both of them. Get on there and sign both petitions, California voter ID, save Prop 13. Don't let them, let's not, no more fraud. Zero. More on the, Mehmet Oz, who's in charge of Medicare and Medicaid under the Trump administration, ran the video that we shared it. It was all over the place, went viral. But the $3.5 billion, mostly or allegedly, Armenian and Russian fraud in L.A. and these, and again, ghost, hospice. We have ghost students. We have ghost people that are dying. And we're paying through the nose here in California and federally because what? $10 million of that stuff that they even traced in the noise on the student deal was coming from federal government.
The epicenter for healthcare fraud, the head of Medicare and Medicaid blaming Russian and Armenian mafia. Fox 11 Susan Hirosuna joining us live in Van Nuys, where Dr. Oz focused those claims. Susan?
Yeah, Christine, and I'm standing not far away from where Dr. Oz pointed up to that second-story business and claimed that was a sham business connected to this healthcare fraud, and then saying that the Russian-Armenian mafia was operating that kind of fraud. Well, Armenian groups came out today and said that's racist.
In this 4-block area in Los Angeles, there are 42 hospices. So either there are a lot of people dying here, or you've got a fraudulent activity that is so good that everyone wants to get in on it.
The former team.
So that was the first part of it. And then Newsom came out. Newsom was the first one. It wasn't those guys. It was Newsom. Gavin Newsom, the governor, said, oh, it's racist. Oh, they're just targeting. Blah, 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 blah. Again, they're throwing smoke up in the air. Saying, look at the fire over there while they're grabbing your wallet and burning it to the freaking ground. Oz has said $3.5 billion. Now listen to Gavin Newsom. He's de facto admitting he knows there's fraud. They've known it for years. somebody who probably didn't pay off their cut got popped not because they were doing investigations, because they were keeping too much of the graft that had been coming around.
Oz. Might have, well, you're living in Oz. When he went down attacking the Armenian community just a few days ago. A business that's down now 30%. Poor guy, small businessman, running a bakery because he decided to do a little TikTok video or something, saying they're somehow connected to the mob.
It's not what Oz said. Oz was pointing to the hospice deal. The bakery happened to be in the same place as one of the allegedly phony hospice places. It wasn't, he didn't say the bakery was. He said hospice. But look how they tried to twist this. Here's more from Gulag Gavin Newsom.
Around hospice. Well, hospice, we've been after that for years and years before Oz was even on the scene.
We've been after that for years. Well, then how is there $3.5 billion just off the get-go Oz is dropping the dime on? If you've been on top of this, Gav.
In 21, we did a moratorium on new hospice program. 280 we shuttered. We've been after this for years and years and years. We want an open hand, not a closed fist. We absolutely are here to be a partner to go after.
Open hand, not a closed fist. We're here to be a partner. Then why weren't you down here? Why weren't you touring with Oz? Saying, oh, what do you got? We need to look into this. No, you attack him. Oh, he's racist, he's homophobe. Oh, we want an open hand, not a closed fist. We want a partner. Well, then where's your partnership? You had your perfect opportunity to partner. No, you're partnering to fleece us. Just like the community college with the ghost students and every other darn thing. Yeah, Nick Shirley's in town. Amy Reichert's been in town and throwing the hammer down. One good thing that's been coming up, shift gears a little bit before we roll out of here. It's talking with the voter ID. Now it's getting the SAVE Act, which is now becoming the Save America Act. You know, Thune was on there. Now Chuck Grassley, the fossil, Iowa Senator, he's 90 plus. You know, they got to bring him in an ambulette, wheel him in on a stretcher with an IV practically. These guys won't let loose of they cannot let loose, not so much, they can't let loose of the limelight and the power and everybody kissing the rear end. But anyway, he signed on as a co-sponsor. John Thune's changed it from the SAVE Act to the Save America Act. He's the head of the Senate. He says they've got 50 plus votes to get it done. Well, let's get it passed. Head it over to Mike Johnson, say get her done. Here's Mike Lee, Senator from Utah, and Congressman Chip Roy from Texas, who've been pushing it on both ends of that, have been the lead guys on there.
Brief update on the SAVE Act. This has been a huge day, great development. We've added more co-sponsors, and we've now got Senator Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, indicating that we'll be bringing it up for a vote. So Chip Roy and I, who introduced the SAVE Act for the first time 2 years ago, are retrofitting the SAVE Act to add in the voter ID requirement, something that we had originally included in what we were going to propose. We're adding it back in. We're going to file that and get this thing ready for a vote. Stay tuned and keep the volume up because we need all the support we can get.
Yes, keep the volume up. It appears we have the votes to do it. Screw the filibuster. You ought to get rid of it anyway, because if you lose the House or the Senate, they're going to dump that. The rats are going to dump that immediately when they take the gavel. So you might as well forget you're going to stop them, because all you're doing is damaging yourself and getting. And there you see what the problem is. Look at Mike Lee saying they've been working on this for 2 years. Finally, it's starting to move in a positive direction. Maybe with the raid down there in Fulton County, Georgia, possibly we may. I know it's a long shot. We may start beginning somewhat of free and fair elections in California. One can only hope. But the positive winds are definitely blowing here. I want to cover this one because this was a kind of a surprise announcement. Donald J. Trump and Roger Penske was their head of IndyCar, Secretary Sean Duffy, Energy Transportation Secretary. The Freedom 250 Grand Prix is going to be in Washington, D.C., August 21st to 23rd on our 250th anniversary. IndyCar race through the streets of Washington, D.C. No charge for admission. That's what I heard. It's going to be absolutely fabulous. Hopefully, got to have some good news coming out of it. Here's Donald J. signing the executive order authorizing the Freedom 250 in Washington, D.C. on our country's 250th anniversary of the greatest country in the history of
We're going to celebrate America's 250th birthday, and he asked all of us to think outside the box. How do we make this historic and cool, and let's all do this together? And he loves the country, he loves the birthday, and so we at DOT were working on this concept. We didn't know at the same time Penske was working on the same project too. And so we've come together, and Doug has been a wonderful partner. But to think 190 miles an hour down Pennsylvania Avenue, this is going to be wild. The last time we had a race in the capital city, Bud, was when?
1801, Thomas Jefferson with a horse race.
A horse race in 1801, Mr. President. Now we're going to do a real race.
That's so good. That's such a good.
225 years since there's been a race in the District of Criminals, and this thing, there's going to be a lot of horsepower on that one going on. The Freedom 250, that'll be something absolutely fantastic to look forward to on that August 21st to 23rd weekend coming up. Absolutely 111% triple A, as we say. Awesome of that. It's maybe, and again, you wouldn't have heard of this in the Biden administration. No way, no freaking how. Those cats would have never come up with that. And Penske, Roger Penske, Sean Duffy, Doug Bergrum, Energy Secretary, all came up with this, worked hard, got Trump on board, and this thing it's ready to rock and roll. Freedom 250. I'm telling you, 2026 is going to be the year of the badass. You're going to see much more. You're going to see much more, I think. I'm pretty confident. Hey, things can come to derail everything. But hopefully, we're not going to do that. Seems like the ICE protest may be getting a little hotter. See if we can do it. There's the ABC7 of that. There seems to be some confrontation between the agitators and federal law enforcement down in downtown LA on the ICE out deal. We'll see how that will, something to maybe monitor on this situation going forward. I don't know. There's no audio coming from, or nobody's talking yet, from ABC7 as you see the pictures coming up. There does seem to be some activity going on of that. It appears, I don't know what the semi trucks are doing, but if they're blocking the ingress and egress of that, they should be towed away. I can't tell. Let me see if we can blow that puppy up. Sometimes these things, well, when you're trying to do live. Let's see, where is see if that goes. Yeah, that's the small one. One day they're going to standardize this stuff so we can all. Let's see, that should get her. Let's see if that does. Yeah, it appears to be a fire truck, and some of that, maybe they're blocking the protesters from further damaging buildings or whatever is going on. Oh, that's a bridge over the freeway. So they're over that. I wish they would come on and tell us what the heck is going on, but there's some live video from ABC7 of the protesters. You see the cops on one end, the fire trucks on the other. They seem to have them somewhat surrounded or not letting them move any further than where they're at. So that's something to check out and or monitor of that. We'll kind of keep her going here in case somebody comes on, tells us exactly what's going on before we get a few more minutes left. We've got to on the show today. But hopefully we'll get to the point where we're not having to deal with this kind of idiocracy. And we will, at some point, get to where this stuff does not, where they have to shut down city streets over paid agitators. And we'll have some of the, some of the old guys like Black Panthers and some of it today, and the evidence is coming out. That's what, this is paid
this is
civil unrest. Oh, maybe.
This is
maybe
Aliso and Alameda. Aliso and Alameda, right on the corner of the federal building.
Okay, Elisa. Okay, this is by the federal building, as you heard the ABC7 guy say, in downtown LA. So that's what they must be barricading so the protesters don't get to the federal building there in downtown Los Angeles. There's one of the fire trucks that appears to be moving. They've got the whole street. It appears, well, there's more of them at the back or in that area. Oh, they're starting to disperse a little bit. I don't know if they're flopping tear gas, or some of the fire trucks seem to be moving. They seem to be dispersing away from that particular area. So would be nice if they would tell us. Maybe they don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, the cops seem to be moving them back. So interesting developments. We'll see if it dissipates here fairly quickly, and or it escalates. You never know how these situations come about. We put this up on iNewsWire, where we thought, and it was supposed to be all across the nation, but the ice out day today, the paid agitators are organized chaos. Businesses brace for shutdowns as the mobs flood the streets. It didn't seem like there was too much going on during the day, at least in the Southland. At least I didn't hear about it. This seems to be something that just cropped up here in the last hour or so. Pretty big police presence.
All right, 10-4.
We'll see if they give us any more info. Well, it seems like maybe they're pulling out of the situation. Well, we'll keep monitoring it, see if anything lights off. Because all it takes is one person to do something completely stupid, and it will be game on. Hopefully you can have a great weekend. There won't be any chaos. This will dissipate by today. I don't know. I heard it was supposed to go on Saturday, this whole ice out thing. Hopefully the paid agitators get it out of their system today. We can all have a nice, quiet, or fun, or whatever, productive weekend. Instead of having to worry about going outside and being assaulted or some darn thing. And
Okay, sounds good.
one good thing about the Trump administration
Yeah, the fast orbits look good.
is they seem to be able to put the kibosh on these
Just do
situations
like fast orbits, then just stay vertical.
real fast. We'll dump out of that. Well, we're almost out of time anyway of that. It seems to be that the situation, whatever the protesters were doing, seems to be dissipating on that there downtown LA at the federal building. So hopefully that's the end of that. We can have a nice, quiet, healthy, or robust or fun Friday evening. Not watching SoCal burn or anything else. Got a lot to do. Get out there. If you haven't signed the voter ID and say Prop 13 petitions, get off your rear end, go to their websites, download the petition, get it done. No excuses. It's a productive thing you can do this weekend, among other things. So you can go to Reform California, hjta.org. Both of those sites will have the petitions. You can download them, sign them, get them in. This is the final week. They got to have the signatures in to do that. We've got to guarantee both of those are on the ballot in November. Not only, hopefully, the SAVE Act gets through the Senate and the House, and we got that. That'll be another chink in the armor to clean up our elections going forward. And that will be none too soon, as they say. Man. That'll do it for this week. As we usually say at this time, mandatory, you're back here in 71 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
All right, well, we got through that episode anyway without any problems.
It seems like it, but you never know when the ding-dongs will fire back off or where they will.
Yeah, well. So what do you mean, Roy? They're just peaceful protesters. You know that.
Harmless as a flea, like Pretty. You know, he was such an angel, and then they find him 10 days before he's spitting on, kicking the tail light out of the ice car and everything else.
Oh yeah, well, not to mention, what did he get fired from for his nursing job? You heard about that, right?
Yeah, that's why I say this guy that was more saintly than Jesus Christ. They were trying to put him in. So, Darren, what is the rest of the story? Paul Harvey used to say.
Yeah, well, they don't want you to know that part. That's the whole thing.
Good. The one good thing about the information highway is, back in the day, you could have kept a lot of this buried. So we do got more ammo to fire back at them on this.
Oh, yeah, but they're just, you're just a Nazi for saying that, though,
And that's the only thing they can do is shout race. That's about their only card left is when all else fails, just shout racism.
Yeah,
Or
racist.
racism, homophobe, all that, and that's
Yeah.
make everything go away.
Yeah, it's just like Don Lemon. He's just an innocent bystander.
Oh, well, he's going to be an innocent bystander in court and hopefully behind bars here pretty soon.
Yeah, something tells me he'll be off scot-free, just like the rest of them.
You never know. That's kind of a hard case to prove, but they do have evidence to at least bring charges, and
Yeah.
we'll see